Hey guys, it's Danny. This beautiful fine morning, we need to take care of this beautiful fine orchid. This is the Phalaenopsis Brother Prince High Tony. I purchased it recently, like 2 months ago, and it did put out a flower just so we see her beauty. And isn't she the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen? One of the best Phalaenopsis that I have, hands down. Bonus, the flower is not really tiny either. And it's so weird to see something so spotted on such a whitish background. I can tell you there is no fragrance, at least not until now, but hey, orchids can release fragrance when they're not so stressed. And believe me when I tell you this orchid is stressed. If you remember in the unboxing video, this one looked the worst. It had some weird spots on the leaves. It also had a black patch that I updated you on my second channel. If you wanna check it out, it's down below. And well, now I'm seeing that we're also suffering from some root rot. Actually, the roots it came with were not in good shape at all, so they weren't healthy to begin with. And the problem is, they're gonna start to spoil the medium much faster and probably the new roots too. So we kind of need to act, even though it is in bloom. All the more reason to look inside and see how many roots do I still have viable, because if I don't, I might have to give up this beautiful flower. Anyway, I decided to take you guys along. So before we start, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it, and why not subscribe? I post multiple times a week and it's free. But if you're feeling extra about it, you can further support my channel by becoming a member, getting some merch, using the affiliate links that I have in the description rather than non-affiliate links, or using the super thanks option down below my videos. Right. With that said, let's get the repotting tray and some gloves. Alrighty, so this one was potted in April. Yeah, I think I actually ordered it in April, so it's about a month ago. If there are any new roots, they did not have time to establish, so I'm not going to disturb them. But I'm curious to see what's happening with these roots. Oh, I do have good roots too. Yay! Yeah, definitely. And I have new root tips. I don't need to cut the flower, which is great. But see, looking on the sides of the pot, I couldn't tell. I only saw these guys, which were not so healthy. And they definitely need removal. Now, I can totally reuse the medium, but you know what? I'm gonna go for the full sphagnum moss setup. Whatever orchid needs repotting right now, I'm putting it in full moss because I do enjoy that setup a little bit better. In this environment, it's just much easier to maintain. Okay, this is not as bad as I thought. Let me just give you a close-up. There we are. This is the root system. We can clearly see some dead roots and we need to remove them, but we can also clearly see brand new root tips just starting to grow, which is great. Now, if you want to leave even more energy for the orchid, definitely cut the flower spike. That is more of I guess personal call, or it depends on each situation. I see this orchid does have quite a few roots, so I'm okay with it, and I really love the flower, so I'm gonna be a little bit selfish here, and I'm gonna leave the flower. The leaves are not droopy either, so that's good. If it was droopy, I would have totally cut the flower spike, but if it's not, I'm gonna be selfish. I'm gonna leave it on and enjoy it just a little longer. But definitely these dead roots need to go. I'm also going to remove the sheaths that the older leaf, the one that was damaged, left behind. Okay, so there are quite a few dead roots here. Look at that. Oops. So I'm tracing them back to the base of the stem and cutting them from here. And then just trying to pull them out. I want to be a little gentle because I do not want to damage those brand new root tips. They are pretty sensitive. On any orchid they would be sensitive, so I want to be careful how I detangle these roots. So I do have some roots that have just segments, which are not good. I'm gonna cut the segments. And even though sometimes the velamen up top here can look a little bit questionable, it doesn't mean the root in its entirety is dead. At the top, there is a lot of potential for burning the velamen due to the excess salts, drying out faster, lower humidity in the environment, and so on. So just having a bit of damage doesn't really mean anything on the velamen. The root inside is what's important. And you can have a lot of roots that look very damaged at the top, just grow beautifully and green down below. So you don't need to cut these roots, even if they look a little bit weird. I don't know how this orchid has been treated, with what, it has been fertilized and so on, so not sure exactly what happened to the roots. Now, this root is really, really mushy. On top of it, looking like it has a lot of deposits. This I can cut because it's mushy. So I'm pretty much done here. And as I was saying, I want to remove this sheath as well. I noticed that roots do have some issues sometimes just poking through, and they kind of just get stuck in those sheaths, which are very, very tough. With time, they kind of become a little bit more brittle, but right now I just want to remove it very gently, just to make sure that the roots have space to poke out of the stem. And when doing something like this, it's really important to be gentle and take your time, because if you destroy the stem, it's no good. All right, let me give you a close-up so I show you that actually there is no stem rot. Do you remember in the initial video I told you that I am going to leave that patch be because cutting it will most likely do more harm, since I'm opening up the gate to the pathogens, because that particular patch looked like the orchid fixed it and it was only reserved for that leaf. Well, that leaf died off, so maybe it had an issue and the orchid kind of just discarded it. And you can see the actual stem is absolutely green and nice. So the decision to let it be was the correct decision in that particular instance. If I would have made a cut in the stem, not only would I have opened another door for the pathogens to potentially infiltrate, but also if I'm not very careful, I can cut the growing points and I can completely destroy the orchid. So it was a no-no. No matter what you might be tempted to do, sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing. There are those instances. Right, let me get myself a suitable pot and I'll be right back. So as I was saying, I will reuse the sphagnum moss, and I'll see if I can reuse the bark on top as well, but I'm more interested in saving the moss. Right, about that thing that we need to do something. It's a human impulse. We always feel like we're not doing anything if we just let things be. And if you're talking about a TV, yeah, you need to fix it. It's not going to fix itself. But when you're talking about living things, sometimes not doing anything, it's not neglect. It's just acknowledging the fact that you would do more harm if you would intervene. Because we have this urge to help, to do something, and maybe sometimes it blinds us, we are prone to doing a lot of things that are simply unnecessary. Hence, you have so many viral videos with all sorts of crazy ideas that you need to do for your orchid. But I can assure you, the weirder it sounds, the less prone it is that you're actually doing something good to your orchid. And if you look, you'll see these videos have like millions of views, and it's just the most horrendous, nonsensical information you have ever heard. Listen, I'm not mad, because all of these people who will destroy their orchids following these tutorials will end up on my channel. Guess why I have so many subscribers? But for you guys who are already here, if you want my opinion, which I know many of you do, yeah, just use logic. And sometimes your logic might say, better not do anything and just wait it out a little bit. And sometimes that is the best thing to do. Alrighty, and we are done. So I place sphagnum moss all the way in the pot, and as a top layer I still use bark just to shade the sphagnum moss so that we don't have excessive algae and cyanobacteria. So look at all of these roots that we removed. They are all mush, and they were all in the pot. Can you imagine how bad that medium would have gotten in no time, pretty much? So the logic here was, did I need to intervene to remove these roots? Yes, because this is a contained pot. It's not gonna react that well. They're just not gonna get flushed and removed and the pot would remain clean. It doesn't work like that, sadly. So yes, I needed to intervene. Alright, so the next thing that I need to do is water a little bit this orchid, because the sphagnum moss was not super damp. It's kind of drying out. I don't like to store my moss wet because, again, it's prone to having algae, but I do like to use it slightly damp. And other than that, really there was no need for anything else, not even hydrogen peroxide 3%. Again, with that solution, it's important to use it when we must, And important not to use it when we really don't have to. So I didn't have any snails on this orchid, and I didn't have any active infections. Even if those roots were going away, they weren't posing a threat to the actual orchid. They weren't an active infection like a leaf infection. So not even in the case of root rot do I actually use hydrogen peroxide. It's just not needed. Once you eliminate the roots, it's okay. Root rot is not an illness necessarily. It is an effect, which is something I always say in my root rot videos, which if you want to learn more, again, you're going to have down below in the description of video talking about it. So really there's no need to use it. Why don't we use it? Like, why don't we want to play it safe? Well, at the end, it's going to be water. After the initial reaction is done, it's just going to be water. Do I want to play with water in the stem? No, I don't. So who knows how one drop just goes in the crown or somewhere, and in no time, I'm going to get crown rot. So do I need to use peroxide? No, I don't. Do I do it anyway just to be safe? No, I don't, because it has downsides as well. So that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. And look how pretty she is. I'm so happy. I got it from Orchids Deluxe, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they still have it in stock, but you can check it out. Looking forward for future blooms when she's gonna look a little bit more vigorous, and definitely we're gonna do a spotlight. Who knows, maybe she will also be fragrant. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. If you want to stay in touch with me, follow me on social media. I'm at MissOrchidGirl pretty much everywhere. Check out my shorts channel for short form content if you don't want to hang around with me. But most importantly, subscribe to this channel because this is where I post the good stuff. So that's it. I'll see you next time. Bye.